Uh, welcome again. Welcome again to another math session at Panther Math Corner. My name is Dr. Howard, and I welcome you to another session. And we're continuing our series, Rewriting Equations and Formulas, and this is part 2. And from the last video, I was going to discuss about formulas and how formulas can be rewritten in terms of other variables. And one thing to note that formulas represent a type of literal equation. So formulas, from this description, formulas shows how one variable is related to one or more variables. A formula is a type of literal equation. Let's practice. And what we're going to do, we're going to take a formula. Take the formula S equals to 2 times the length times width plus 2 times the length and height plus 2 times width times height. Okay. And it says solve the formula for the L length, for the length L. All right. So what we're going to do is, write the equation and just try to see if we can factor out L and get L by itself. And shift all the other variables that are not involved in relation to L on the opposite side of the equal sign. So we're going to write the equation again. Equals 2LW plus 2LH plus 2WH. All right, we're going to look at this right here. This doesn't have any relation right now in terms of what we're looking for. So we can shift that over using the subtraction property. Okay, I'm going to subtract 2WH as one term and put it over here. All right, so S minus 2WH, and look, this cancels. All right, this gives us 2 times LW plus 2 times LH. All right, so far so good. Now, like before, we see some type of relationship where both terms here have L. So what we can do, we can factor using the distributive property. All right, so I'm going to write this again. S minus 2WH equals 2. Now I'm going to factor out L because L is in common with the W and with the H. All right, so I'm going to have 2W plus 2H. All right, so I factor out the the L from the W and from the H, and they have 2 in common. Well, you don't have to factor out the 2 because you only want to look for terms that you want to get L by itself. If you factor out the 2 along with that, that means L wouldn't be by itself. All right, so it would be pointless. Just factor out the variable that you're looking for, in this case L. And then we can divide on both sides. And divide by 2W plus 2HW. And do it on both sides. Plus 2H. All right. And voila, this cancels. All right. And our final answer, L equals to S minus 2WH over, all right, 2W plus 2H. All right, voila. So we found L, and we went through operations. We went through subtraction property. Make that big. All right. And also we use division. All right. And also we used distributive property. All right. We use the distributive property to factor out the L, and then we use the division property to cancel out the terms next to L, so that L would be by itself, and it is by itself. All right, see that? Okay. All right, let me write another problem. I'm going to erase this. I love this board. I keep telling you that. Matter of fact, I can erase this because you should have copied the formula. If not, you can just rewind and play it over. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at the formula for the triangle, area of a triangle. Area of a triangle. All right. And it's A equals to 1/2 times B times H. And this one, it says to solve for H. Okay, solve for H. Very easy thing to solve for H is look at each of the terms. I'm going to write it again. 1/2 BH. And look at it. Look at it carefully. And take your time and ask yourself, what do I need to do? I have 1/2 times B times H. Obviously, subtraction and addition doesn't have any connection here because there are no pluses or minuses so that you can move them over the other side. So we're going to have to deal with multiplication and maybe division, but I believe it's mostly multiplication. All right, so let's take 1/2. So how do we get it? We look at it a bit at a time, all right? And it's multiplication. This is multiplication. So we're going to, with this fraction, remember what I was telling you with this fraction? If there's a fraction, when we have it in front of the variable, we use multiplication, right? So we're going to multiply 2 on both sides. All right, see, look, they cancel. And you have 2 times A, all right? So you have 2 times A equals to BH, all right? And then we're going to try it again. So B is a whole number. So if there's no number in front of B, it's understood to be 1, remember? Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to divide. We're going to divide B on both sides. All right. So we divide B on both sides. They cancel. So your final answer is 2A over B equals to H. And that's what we have. We solve for H. All right. So we use multiplication. We use the multiplication, okay, and then we use division property. All right. We use the multiplication to multiply 2 on both sides to cancel out the 1/2 because we looked at the 1/2 here, which is in the denominator, so we multiply by a whole number. And then we had the B left. We divide B on both sides. That cancels the B and have H by itself. All right. Okay, take a few minutes to look at that. And while you do that and doing the video, I'm going to start the next one. You can stop and pause whenever you want. And this is the last one. Okay, we want to find a variable from the surface area of a cone. Sorry. Okay, and the area is, the formula is S equals to pi r squared. All right, let me write this. This is pi. All right, pi r squared plus pi r L. And then it says solve for L. So we have to get L by itself. All right. So looking at this, we do have plus. Wow. So that means that we can use probably the subtraction property in this case, because we can use that to move one of these terms to get L close to L by itself. All right, so let's do that. So we're going to use the subtraction property. All right, so S equals to let me erase this. So we're going to use the subtraction property, and I'm going to do straight horizontal method. All right, so we're going to subtract pi r squared on both sides. All right, so we have S minus pi r squared. S minus pi r squared. All right, so we just relocated the terms. All right, so this is the equal sign right here. So this is minus. All right, so this cancels. Okay, so you have equals to pi r L. All right, so what's the next thing we can do? What we can do is we can divide. All right, we can divide pi r on both sides to get L by itself, because again, this is multiplication. Pi times r. So the only operations that we can use are the inverses of multiplication and division. So since we can do that here, we can just simply divide pi r on both sides. All right. Okay, and once we did that, this is division. All right, this is division. Guess what? This cancels. So you have S minus pi r squared over pi over r. S minus pi r squared over pi r equals to L. Now, I know what you're thinking. Hey, this is positive, that's negative, they cancel, and you have r squared left. No, you can't do that. See, look, these two operations are different. You have S minus pi r squared over pi r. So they're two different terms. So you will not cancel, all right, because it's joined by a subtraction sign, and also r squared and r are totally similar, but because of this operation, they're different. So you wouldn't cancel. So this is your final answer. Thank you again for joining me in another math session at Panther Math Corner. This is Dr. Howard, and I wish you well, and you have a great day. And see you in the next video.